Hello, my name is Ceona, and today I'll be speaking about discrimination and its implications for leadership, diversity, and inclusion. Discrimination can be defined as unfair treatment of individuals or groups based on characteristics such as gender, nationality, race, disability, or socioeconomic status. Today, I'll focus on three key points. First, discrimination by gender. Second, discrimination by nationality and ethnicity. Third, the role of educational leadership in addressing these issues. Let's start with gender discrimination. Leadership, both in schools and beyond, has often shaped by gendered expectations. Heffernan and Pat explains that women leaders are frequently judged through stereotypes. Even things like how they dress or present themselves can influence how their leadership is perceived. Camara in the year 2017 looked at indigenous female leaders working in remote Australian schools and found that many were marginalized or excluded from decision making. She described them as being both remote and invisible. From an inclusion perspective, this shows that discrimination isn't about personal bias, it's often structural. It builds into systems that limit women's visibility and influence. As an educational leaders, we need to be aware of these barriers and take action to create fair, inclusive opportunities for everyone. Now moving to nationality and ethnicity. Discrimination in this area can be more subtle, but it's just as powerful. Walton and her colleagues found that many Australian schools still operate within a framework of whiteness, where the dominant culture is seen as a norm and the other culture's identity are often overlooked or undervalued. Zambelis and Lasanos in the year 2017 found that in ethnically divided society, schools sometimes reflect those same divisions. Things like separate schooling, biased teaching material, or language barriers can actually reinforce separation instead of promoting unity. This shows how discrimination can be structural. When we talk about diversity and inclusion, this kind of discrimination reminds us that inclusion isn't just about having people from different backgrounds in same space. It's about creating an environment where every identity is respected and has a voice. As a leader, it's our responsibility to challenge these invisible systems and build a schools where cultural diversity is genuinely celebrated. Finally, let's look at the role of leadership itself in tackling discrimination. Carrington and Kimber highlight ethical leadership. Leaders set the moral tone. When they model fairness, they help dismantle discriminatory behavior. Boyle and Edrison remind us that inclusion is a human right. So, school leaders have both a moral and legal duty to act against discrimination. River, Mukachan, and Watson describe social justice leadership which goes beyond compliance. It means identifying who is being excluded and taking deliberate action to ensure belonging. In short, inclusive leadership is the most effective response to discrimination, not just through policy but through daily practice. Now, to conclude, discrimination undermines both diversity and inclusion by restricting opportunities, silencing voice, and perpetuating inequality. Whether it manifests through gender or nationality, it is both a personal and systemic issue. Educational leadership plays a decisive role in how discrimination is challenged. Ethical, inclusive, and socially just leaders recognize discrimination not as isolated incidents, but as a structural challenge that require active intervention. Inclusive is not simply about opening the door to about transforming the culture so that discrimination no longer shapes who belongs and who doesn't. Thank you.